Yeah, nice. Completely, guys. What the man?
And now to come away with 0 point, a shame for everyone.
Listen, guys, something absolutely brutal just happened to Max Verstappen, and honestly, this one really hurts different. Monaco was supposed to be his comeback moment, his redemption race, and instead it turned into the most painful disaster of his season. While Max retired from the race, his teammate was on the podium. But that's not even the full story, because behind the scenes, there's a retirement bomb ticking, Mercedes is circling like a shark, and Red Bull just had to make an emergency decision. Stick around because this video is going to hit different. Let's break it down, but before, if you want more updates and news on Max, then hit that like button and subscribe for more breakdown. The Monaco nightmare begins. So let's set the scene. Verstappen qualifies P2 at Monaco, right behind Antonelli. The crowd is electric. The pace looked genuinely strong all weekend, and for the first time in a while, Max actually looked happy going into a race. He even said himself that the whole weekend felt really good and that he was genuinely excited to see what he could do in the race. And then the lights go out. Nothing happens. His Red Bull just dies. The entire field blasts past him while he sits there completely frozen on the grid. He eventually gets moving, but the damage is done, and after one painful lap, he's pulling into the pits, and the race is over. Done. Finished. Just like that. The scary engine failure explained. Now, here's what makes this even more alarming. The problem didn't just start at the lights. Verstappen said on the radio that even during the formation lap, the engine was already behaving strangely. He couldn't hit his RPM target. There was zero consistency, and when he dropped the clutch at the start, the engine just dropped dead completely. And when he got on the radio, he was furious. He literally said, "Completely fucked, guys. What the fuck, man? Even at the formation lap, the engine is broken." That tells you everything. This wasn't a surprise failure. The warning signs were already there. The team just couldn't fix it in time. And the scary part is, this is now his second DNF of the 2026 season, both caused by engine issues. Red Bull has a serious reliability crisis on their hands right now. Hadjar gets a podium while Max gets nothing. Now, while Verstappen was sitting in the garage watching the race, something pretty wild was happening to his teammate Isaac Hadjar. Because Hadjar had crashed in practice, looked completely off the pace, and honestly, most people had already written him off for the weekend. But then in the race, this guy somehow finds himself fighting for a podium position. His car was also suffering engine problems. He even said over the radio that something felt like it was about to explode. He lost first gear completely, but he kept pushing and stayed out there. Red Bull told him there was no fix and to just deal with it, and somehow he did. While Max got 0 points, Hadjar came away from Monaco with a podium finish. Same team, completely opposite outcomes, and that contrast right there is something Red Bull really needs to sit down and think about seriously. The team apology and emergency engine swap. After the race, Red Bull came out with an official apology directed at Verstappen, and it's not something you see from a top F1 team very often. The admission was clear. This was a power unit failure, the engine let him down, and the team let him down at a circuit where he had every reason to believe a podium was possible. And now, behind the scenes, Red Bull are rushing through an emergency engine swap before the Spanish Grand Prix. They simply cannot afford another DNF like this, especially at a circuit where straight line power and reliability matter a huge amount. The pressure inside that garage right now must be absolutely enormous. We are not in a title battle anyway. And this is where Verstappen said something that kind of stopped everyone in their tracks. When he was asked about how costly this DNF was for his championship, he basically shrugged and said, "We are not in a title battle anyway." And honestly, hearing that from Max Verstappen is genuinely strange, because this is a guy who fights for everything, who never gives up, who once came back from massive deficits to win championships. But right now, he knows the reality. Antonelli is flying, Red Bull is nowhere near the front in terms of pace, and Max is just trying to survive a season that has gone completely sideways on him. retirement talk, and the 2028 contract situation. But here's where it gets really deep. Right before Monaco, Verstappen was asked about his contract and his future, and he didn't sugarcoat anything. He said he still hasn't decided whether he wants to continue in F1 after 2028, and then he said something that really landed hard. He said, "Otherwise, I would have signed a contract until 2040 a long time ago." That line tells you exactly where his head is at right now, and it goes even further back than that. After the Japanese Grand Prix earlier this season, he told the BBC that he was genuinely thinking about retiring at the end of 2026, that he wasn't enjoying the sport, that the new regulations feel anti-driving and more like Mario Kart than real racing. He has a performance exit clause in his contract that allows him to leave after this season if certain conditions are met. And the way this year is going, that clause is looking more and more relevant by the week. Mercedes rumors. And this brings us to the one story that just refuses to go away: Toto Wolff and Mercedes. Ever since Verstappen started making noise about his future, Wolff has never fully shut the door on the idea of bringing Max to Mercedes. The rumors are getting louder again, especially now that Verstappen's trusted race engineer Lambiase is officially leaving Red Bull for McLaren, and several other key figures like Christian Horner and Rob Marshall have already left the team. The foundation that made Verstappen 4 times champion is basically crumbling around him. So here's the full picture. Max just had his worst weekend of the season at a circuit he loves. Red Bull's engine reliability is a disaster. His teammate grabbed a podium while he watched from the garage. The team is doing emergency engine swaps. Verstappen himself is openly questioning whether F1 is still worth it, and Mercedes is quietly waiting in the background. My honest opinion is that if Red Bull doesn't give him a genuinely competitive car before the summer break, the exit clause conversation is going to get very serious very fast. And I'll leave you with this question. If Verstappen does activate that exit clause and leaves Red Bull at the end of 2026, where do you think he ends up? Drop your answer in the comments because I genuinely want to know what you guys think.